Well, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash a like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And after a very disappointing 2023-24 season, which saw the New Jersey Devils fail to make the playoffs after coming off a franchise record-setting season and a playoff berth, including a beautiful 7-game victory over the Rangers in the first round before ultimately falling to the Carolina Hurricanes in round 2, GM Tom Fitzgerald realized this group needed a shakeup, and boy, did he shake it up. He had a very busy offseason tweaking the roster, as well as finding a new coach, and I am here to run you through the comprehensive offseason recap of all the Fitz moves over the summer. And we started off on April 25th, 2024, re-signed Shane Bowers and Ryan Schmelzer to 2-year, 2-way contracts. Both of these guys will likely start the season in Utica. Shane Bowers looking to crack the lineup, potentially get a fourth-line spot. He did make the trip to Prague. He will most likely not be playing in the game and will be watching from their press box. But keep an eye on Bowers. We may see him throughout the season get a bottom six role, probably the fourth line, if there's injuries or, some guys are struggling. So keep an eye on that. May 1st, signed goaltender Jacob Malek to a 2-year entry-level contract and signed defenseman Seamus Casey to a 3-year entry-level contract. Jacob Malek is one of the young, promising goaltenders in the organization. We likely won't see him in a Devils jersey anytime soon, but we may see him in the minors. Young prospect. Again, our goaltending crop is pretty full right now at the moment, but Malek's a guy to keep an eye on for the future. And the big one here is defenseman Seamus Casey signing his 3-year entry-level deal. Fitzgerald definitely planned on having Seamus Casey start the season in the AHL, playing for the Utica Comets to develop at the pro level before ultimately trying to crack the New Jersey Devils lineup, what I would imagine would have been next year. However, the black injury cloud has followed the Devils from last season into this season, and due to injuries to Luke Hughes in an off-season training incident, brettpesce still recovering from an off-season surgery, and Santeri Hatakka, here we are. Seamus Casey is on the plane going to Prague, looking like he's going to be in the opening night lineup, and the kid has looked amazing in preseason. I'm sure a lot of you have seen Seamus. Great skater, great vision, good shot, high hockey IQ, and he's looked great in the preseason. He found his way on the plane to Prague, and he's probably going to be in the opening night lineup. Now, how long he stays in the lineup remains to be seen, but I think he's going to make it extremely hard on the coaching staff to send him down to Utica. He's now in the NHL, it seems, and he wants to stay. So Seamus Casey, one of the more interesting plot developments from the preseason heading into Prague for this global series. May 2nd, re-signed Max Willman and Nathan Leger to 1-year, 2-way contracts. Again, these are Utica moves. Willman might see a game or two at some point with injuries or something like that, but these are mostly AHL-level moves for the Comets. May 11th, re-signed Samuel LeBers to a 1-year, 2-way contract, and left-wing Brian Hallinan to a 2-year, 2-way contract. Again, most likely Utica moves for the AHL club. However, if you've been watching this preseason, Brian Hallinan looks like a player. He had 20 goals in 35 games for the Comets last year in the AHL. He's had a few games with the Devils last season, and he's looking to make a name for himself. He had 2 great games against the Rangers the past few nights, scoring a goal in each of them, bringing a high compete level. I like his game, and I think we definitely will see Hallinan at some point crack the Devils lineup. Again, whether that's due to injury or guys struggling, I believe Hallinan forces his way into at least some Devils games this season. That's another thing to keep an eye on. May 12th, 2024, re-signed Curtis McDermott to a 3-year contract. And if you guys have been watching me, you know I'm a fan of the rough and tumble stuff, old school hockey. Curtis McDermott was brought in last season after Matt Rempe was running around smashing Devils players at will with no retaliation whatsoever. Fitzgerald saw enough. He called Colorado, made the trade, brought McDermott in. Curtis McDermott is the toughest man in the National, according to Mike Rupp of NHL Network. Loved what Curtis brought. We obviously saw his physicality. He had a couple bouts last season, including obviously the famous start of the line brawl where he fought Matt Rempe at center ice at the Garden and everyone else fought as well. But Curtis McDermott is here. 3-year deal. Matt Rempe pest control. If you run around and take liberties with the New Jersey Devils, the Sheriff Curtis McDermott will be coming for you and he will smash your face. No more cheap shots on this Devils club. Long overdue. Glad to see Curtis here. And then another big one on May 18th. Sheldon Keefe named the head coach. Now, my friends, a lot of people were calling for Lindy's job super early last year, and I wasn't one of those people. I thought it was way too early. We were dealing with a ton of injuries. I wanted to give Lindy way more leeway, but ultimately, as the season went on, heading late into the season, it was clear that this group was kind of lost. And while I think Lindy did an admirable job with our young players a couple years ago and, grooming them along the way, it just seemed like it was time for a change, time to go in a new direction. Lindy Ruff was let go. Travis Green was named interim head coach. And ultimately, in the offseason interview process, Fitzy decided to go with Sheldon Keefe, a very decorated coach, has made the playoffs every year at every level. He's coached juniors, the AHL. He won the Calder Cup in the AHL with the Toronto Marlies, had a ton of great regular seasons with the Toronto Maple Leafs and their talented group they had there. And unfortunately, they could just never really make that deep run in Toronto. Toronto was kind of in a similar situation where they thought, okay, we're going to let Keefe go after this playoff run. They fell in the second round. Keefe was available, and Fitz goes out and gets him. I'm very excited for what Sheldon Keefe's going to do with this group. There's going to be a lot of adjustments with a lot of new faces and things in the lineup, but I think Keefe is going to be a very good coach for this team. I really do, and I'm excited to see, how we get off to a start this season. June 16th, acquired Adam Beckman from Minnesota in exchange for Graham Clark. Again, this is an AHL move. Beckman's going to play for Utica, so nothing too drastic there. And then the other big one, the other big move that we were all looking for, June 20th, 2024, acquired goaltender Jacob Markstrom from the Calgary Flames in exchange for defenseman Kevin Ball and New Jersey's first-round selection in the 2025 NHL Draft, top 10 protected, meaning if the Devils are horrible and we have a top 10 pick, then we would retain that pick and we would keep it, and then the Flames would get our next year's pick. But I like Jacob Markstrom. I wanted him from last year when the Devils were rumored to him. I know a lot of people are nervous about his age at 34. I am not concerned whatsoever. He signed for 2 more years, so we have this season and next. Let's see what he could do. I think he has plenty of hockey left. He's played at an elite level for several seasons in his career. He was a Vezina nominee not too long ago, and I think he's going to be revitalized in a new city, in New Jersey, with this new group. I think the whole thing, is going to work out well, and I'm expecting a big season from Jacob Markstrom, but the Devils should not have the goaltending woes that we had last season. We saw Akira Schmid and Vanacek struggle early on. We were, amongst the worst in the league in goals against. We were just getting lit up every night. Our defense had a lot of struggles as well, but it was a mess. We all wanted a goalie. Tried to get Markstrom last year. Heavy rumors. It fizzled out. Didn't happen. Fitz makes it happen this summer. Jacob Markstrom, welcome to New Jersey. And then Fitzgerald, in an interview with TSN over the summer, said, aside from addressing the goaltending situation, he wanted to get heavier, edgier, more violent. Music to my ears. Heavier, edgier, more violent. This team has been way too soft for way too long. So now Fitz is going to go out there and try to mold this roster to fit that creed of heavier, edgier, more violent. June 24th, re-sign defenseman Nick DeSimone to a 1-year, 2-way contract. Again, Nick DeSimone looked pretty good in some Devils games last season. Serviceable defenseman, going to probably be a 7th, 8th type defenseman, possibly playing Utica. We'll see how that all develops. He also made the trip to Prague, and with all these injuries, we might see him thrust into action. We'll see how that goes. A lot of injuries on the blue line already throughout the training camp and preseason. June 29th, 2024, acquired forward Paul Cotter and a 2025 third-round pick from Vegas Golden Knights for forwards Alexander Holtz and goaltender Akira Schmid. This one was a little shock to my system, I'm not going to lie. I loved Akira Schmid, Game 7 hero, won that Rangers playoff series after Vanacek struggled, and I thought, obviously, everyone knows the case of Alexander Holtz. High draft pick. We all thought he could be that 30-goal scorer guy. Was kind of in the doghouse with Lindy Ruff and really never got his opportunity or found his groove in New Jersey. He showed signs of, being a good top 6 player, but it just didn't pan out, and I guess the Devils were over the project. They trade Holtz and Schmid to Vegas. Paul Cotter brought in, and I love Paul Cotter. He seems to be starting off on a 4th line with Curtis Lazar and Nathan Bastian, the meat line, and I think they're going to bring the energy. I also have said in previous videos that because of Cotter's skill, he has some really good wheels on him. He has some nice shifty moves, great hands, can score. I do think he will get opportunities throughout the season to play on higher lines. I just don't see how he sticks on that 4th line. I do think he's too talented to be on the 4th line the whole season, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I am expecting a huge season from Paul Cotter, and I really like what he brings. June 30th, acquired defenseman Jonathan Kovacevic from Montreal in exchange for a 2026 fourth-round pick, extended qualifying offers to restricted free agents Dawson Mercer, Nolan Foote, Adam Beckman, Santeri Hatakka, and Nico Daws. Kovacevic, a big defenseman from Montreal. A lot of Canadiens fans said, he has great potential. They liked what they saw from him. Very physical. Again, something we were missing, especially on the blue line. And love the Kovacevic move. Again, I thought he was going to start as a 7th or 8th defenseman. Due to injury, it seems like he's going to be in the opening night lineup, and he's going to try his best to stay in that lineup as well. Like Kovacevic, July 1st, free agency begins, and Fitzy did not disappoint. He got active July 1st, 2024, agreed to terms with unrestricted defenseman brettpesce on a 6-year contract, signed forward Stefan Noesen to a 3-year contract, signed defenseman Colin White to a 2-year, 2-way contract, signed Mike Hardman to a 2-year, 2-way contract. Brettpesce, veteran defenseman, tons of playoff runs with the Hurricanes, part of a winning organization, winning culture. He's going to be a very steady hand on the blue line for the Devils, something we desperately need with the youth and inexperience we do have on defense with Luke Hughes, Shimo Nemitz, and now possibly Seamus Casey going forward. Pesce's going to be that cool, calm, and collected guy. Great signing by Fitz. Stefan Noesen, heavier, edgier, more violent. Played some years the Devils a few years back on that Carolina team with Pesce. Went on some deep runs. Nasty guy, could do a lot. Hits, scores, could fight if he needs to. Big body in front of the net. That beautiful net front presence. And I love Noesen's game. Gritty, grinder type guy. And he's back. And he's going to be a contributor for this New Jersey Devils group as well. Love to see Stefan Noesen brought back. And the other moves are just, again, Utica depth moves. I'm not going to talk about those too much. Now, July 2nd, agreed to terms with forward Tomas Tatar on a 1-year contract. Tuna comes back. Tatar is brought back to the Devils after bouncing around a couple teams last season. He was part of that magical group in the 22-23 season that had that record-setting 112-point season, beat the Rangers in 7 games in the first round. Hopefully, they're trying to recapture some of the magic he had with Dawson Mercer and Nico Hischier. I think they're going to have a chance to stay together as a line and see how they do. Hopefully they perform. If not, Tatar might be bounced around in the lineup. But Tatar comes on a 1-year deal back to the Devils. July 15th, Adam Beckman signs a 1-year, 2-way contract. Again, depth move for the AHL team in Utica. July 19th, signed forward Cam Squires to a 3-year entry-level contract. Cam Squires is another guy that's looked very good in rookie camp and in the rookie challenge, the prospects challenge in Buffalo. A few weeks ago. Looked very good, and he's going to be looking to make a name for himself and crack this Devils lineup sooner than later as well. I like Cam Squires. I think he brings a lot of energy and a scoring touch, and I think we might see him on the Devils. Again, if some injuries or things happen, they're trying to shake things up. Squires is a guy to keep an eye on, but if not for this year, I think he's going to definitely make a case for himself for next season. So Cam Squires, an exciting guy to keep an eye on. July 22nd, re-signed defenseman Santeri Hatakka to a 1-year, 2-way contract. Now, Hatakka is a guy I really liked last year. We saw him in not a ton of games, but he looked very good in the games he did play. Looked like he belonged. He's talked a big game coming into training camp. He said, I believe I'm an NHL player. I want to be in the lineup. And I firmly believe, because he's a left-handed shot, he was the defenseman that the franchise was counting on to slide in for Luke Hughes when he was injured. However, Hatakka also gets injured. And, like I said, that injury cloud is still here. Hatakka injured. We don't really know too much about it at this point. And the defense is a little nicked up right now. And that's part of the reason why Seamus Casey has been presented this golden opportunity. Let's see what he does with it. July 30th, re-signed goaltender Nico Daws to a 2-year contract. Nico Daws, the organization has been high in him for a couple years now. He struggled a little bit last year playing behind a sloppy defense on a lot of nights. He showed glimpses of greatness. He had an amazing win in the Stadium Series game against the Philadelphia Flyers at MetLife Stadium, and he had some other great games as well, but he's going back to the AHL to play for Utica this year, get a little more seasoning, and he's going to be one of the guys that is looking to claim the starter's net in the post-Jacob Markstrom era. Again, Markstrom's here for this season and next. Who knows? If he plays well and looks good, maybe he's signed for another year or two beyond that, but as of right now, it seems Nico Daws is amongst the crop of young goalies in the system that are going to be looking to compete for that starting job when Jacob Markstrom leaves this New Jersey Devils club. August 12th, re-signed Nolan Foote to a 1-year, 2-way contract. Again, Nolan Foote had some injury problems last year. We didn't see a lot of him. He is another guy hoping to crack this New Jersey Devils lineup. And it's going to be interesting to see, how that goes with him. He's also in Prague. Don't know whether he's going to play or not. If I had to guess right now, I don't think he's going to be in the opening night lineup. He'll probably be watching in the press box. But another guy where he's trying to crack that bottom six with injuries, with struggles. You never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. August 30th, signed defenseman Jacob Zboril to a professional tryout agreement. Signed goaltender Michael Hutchinson to a professional tryout agreement. Zboril's looked pretty decent in a couple of preseason games. Unfortunately, I don't know. Because of all the defensemen we have, even with the injuries, I don't know if he's going to get a contract or not. If I had to guess, I would believe he doesn't. But you never know. And the goaltender Michael Hutchinson was in camp for a little bit, and I guess because of all the goalies we have, the Devils released him a few days ago. September 16th, signed defenseman Andy Welinski and forward Kevin LeBanc to professional tryout contracts. And I will say, if you've watched the preseason again, LeBanc has looked amazing. 28 years old. He doesn't believe he's done playing professional hockey. Wants to play at the NHL level. And he was on a tear those 2 games against the Rangers. He had a goal against the Rangers at home in the 3-1 win, which saw Jeremy Brodeur give us all a great night of nostalgia, seeing a Brodeur in net. Had a goal in that one. And then last night at the Garden, had 2 goals and an assist for a 3-point night. LeBanc has 4 points in the last 2 games in the preseason. He's looked great, high energy. Looks like he has great vision, pretty good hockey IQ. He made a beautiful saucer pass to Hallinan, who one time went in. This guy has a lethal shot, whether it's a wrister, snap, just overall veteran kind of guy looking to crack the lineup. And I do think LeBanc is going to be hard to deny. I thought he's been kind of the surprise story of the preseason. Will be interesting to see what Fitzgerald decides to do with him, but I feel like he has to be signed. I really do. I do think he is an upgrade over some of the guys that are going to be in the opening night lineup. And I just don't see how you deny this man. He is playing possessed. And if the Devils don't sign him, I think someone will. I think he's looked that good in the preseason. I think he's shown he's not done. He still has a lot to give. Given the right circumstances and role on a team, he could definitely be a contributor. Keeping an eye on that, and I hope Fitz signs him. It's going to be another interesting plot to follow in the next week or so. September 20th, the saga comes to an end. Restricted free agent Dawson Mercer finally signs a 3-year deal after missing the first day of on-ice training camp. Love to see it. Must have been a pretty contentious battle between Mercer's agent and Fitz. They finally get a 3-year deal done. Love to see Dawson Mercer back. Have high hopes for him. He's going to have a top 6 role on this club this season. And I'm hoping for like a 60-point year out of him. A little 30-30, 25-35. You never know. But I think the sky's the limit for Mercer. If he could stay consistent, stay in that top 6, stay healthy. He has an Ironman streak going. He's appeared in all 82 games in the first 3 seasons of his NHL career. Love to see that. He is durable. He brings a little feistiness and a little scoring knack. Love Dawson Mercer's game. Glad to see him back here and hoping for a big year out of him. If we could get a big season out of him, that would be something really special because we are going to need contributions from wherever we can get it. I do believe we are going to have to gut out some ugly 2-1 wins at junctures of the season. And a guy like Mercer, I like to have in games like that. But that concludes the offseason recap, the summer of Fitz. Overall, I thought the Devils did a fantastic job, and Fitzgerald really brought in some of those elements we needed. Heavier, edgier, more violent. We upgraded several players on defense. We brought in a legitimate NHL goaltender in Jacob Markstrom, and I do believe the sky is the limit for this club. I'll be coming out with my predictions video tomorrow, maybe some hot takes, player predictions, team predictions, things like that, so keep an eye out on that. But let me know what you thought about any of these moves. Let me know what you're most excited about for the season. Anything, everything Devils hockey, throw it out there in the comments. I love talking to you all. I'll be back soon working on a ton of stuff. A lot of exciting stuff coming in the month of October. And I am pumped, guys. We are 2 days away from opening night in Prague, Global Series. 2 games against former coach Lindy Ruff and his Buffalo Sabres. And I'm hoping the boys come home with 4 points. Would love for the boys to get on that jet plane coming back to New Jersey with 4 points in the bank. And hopefully they find a way to do it. I'll be back soon. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.